City Farm is a charity that runs projects in animal care, horticulture, catering and arts and craft. Our projects are targeted to support people experiencing mental health problems, people living with learning disabilities, young people struggling in mainstream education and older people that have become isolated in the community.
Colin Van, 6 years this December I've been volunteering. I'm mowing, that's why I spend a few hours mowing a week. Bit of wheelbarrowing, digging. I'm not too keen on weeding because my eyesight, if I was stuck at home and I'd be so sort of, in fact, I'd be so down about 6 o'clock in the evening. I think I'd spend all my money down the pub and that every night and that really.
It's great to be somewhere where everybody kind of knows that everybody's got something. We've all got some issues that we've been wrestling with, and it's great to have that understood. And it's good that you can not talk about things, or you can talk about things. It's fine. It's anything. You just know that you're in a generally safe space. Yeah. And that's it.
Last year, through our targeted projects, our charity supported over 950 people in the community. 7% went on to find employment, 25% re-engaged with training or education, and 35% reduced their clinical mental health support or medication. Our largest project is called Get Growing. Get Growing is a therapeutic horticultural project that supports adults experiencing mental health problems. The group work together to grow, care for and harvest all the vegetables grown at Bath City Farm. These vegetables are then turned into delicious, healthy meals by our catering project, Training at the Trough, and sold to visitors in our cafe.
Zucchinis, peas, runner beans, squash, tomatoes, lettuces, rhubarb, strawberries, kale, heaps of stuff.
Get Growing is run by Sarah Chappell, our mental health and volunteering lead, and she would love to show you how you can grow lettuce at home.
Depending on what kind of growing conditions you can provide will depend on when you can start seed sowing salads. If you've got something like a polytunnel, it means you can sow a month earlier than usual, so I would start sowing kind of right at the beginning of March, although it slightly depends on what's actually happening with the weather. If you're just at home, then you can do this kind of sowing in a small propagator. If you get it, probably end of March, or on a bright windowsill, but just you have to make sure that it's going to reach a temperature of 15 to 20 degrees and your light levels are going to be good enough that you won't end up with really, really leggy plants. So once you sort out the growing conditions, the next thing is what compost you're going to use. And you can either buy seed sowing compost, which is a lot finer than normal compost, or you can use a multi-purpose compost and then put it through a soil sieve like this. And I never used to think it was kind of worth the hassle, but then I started doing it and you actually get a way better rate of germination, because if you have a really fine texture, it means all the seeds that you put in here will have really good contact with the soil, and that will mean that they stay moist and won't dry out before they germinate. So I would fill a pot about this full and then just compress it really gently like that. Usually I would water at this stage because that means you can give it a really good soaking without displacing all the seeds. Then sprinkle. These will be quite dense. The seeds will be quite dense at first. And then obviously label them with your variety and put the date on as well, because you can kind of monitor that actually if they haven't germinated in a week or two, something has gone wrong. And it helps you keep track so that you can redo it if you need to. And then just a really fine layer on top like that, just covering it. A good rule of thumb, however big the seed is, cover it with that depth of compost. In 4 or 5 days that will germinate, you'll get tiny seedlings. Once they've got their first set of true leaves, you could then prick them out at that really young stage. And you do that by just turning them out of the pot and peeling them slowly away from the main clump. And that's when you put them into your 40 cell tray. They're like your plugs then. And then you would grow them on for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then they can be planted into the ground. So we have top dressed the bed with our compost, and we've just raked it out flat, and I picked out any really big bits of wood just so it's a bit finer than it was before. And the good thing about planting into compost is it's really soft, so we can plant using a dibber, which is just a sharpened broken spade handle. So what I've done is made these holes all the way up this line, and we've got this module of lettuces that have been growing in this for about 4 weeks, and all we do is pop them out of their cells, and it's the perfect size to go in these holes that we've just made, and it's a really quick and easy way to plant a lot of lettuce. These will grow really easily now. They'll be really happy as long as you plant them in quite a sunny spot. They do hate drying out though, and if over a really hot spell, if you don't water them, they will try and run to seed. So you need to make sure they're not drying out too much and not getting too stressed. Slugs might be an issue where you're growing. We're quite lucky here in raised beds. I don't need to use anything slug protection wise, but you could use something like a beer trap, which the slugs will fall into and die happy. We're planting in rows, in straight lines, partly because I think it looks pretty, make this pattern with different colour lettuces, but also so that you can weed really easily just up the row like this if you start to get small weeds coming up. It's a lot easier doing it like that. If they're dotted about, it takes a really, really long time. This is what the process that I've just explained will look like probably in about 4 weeks' time. So these lettuces were sown about 10 weeks ago, but you can start harvesting when they're a lot smaller than this. So probably from about 7 weeks onwards you can start harvesting. And to harvest, all you need to do, you discard the outer leaves because they're not so tasty. Discard these big outer leaves, and then just harvest the kind of middle leaves from a number of different plants. We always leave the centre intact because that is busy putting a lot of energy into the plant, and it's almost like getting rid of the engine, so we leave that in the centre. This is the final product. We've harvested from the main lettuces just some of the middle leaves, and then we've got some of the rocket and some of the pea shoots, and decorated it with the nasturtiums, and then you just need to make a dressing and you're ready to eat.
My name is Helen Fisher and I'm the farm manager, and this is Dougal, our miniature Shetland pony. The farm is now reopened to the public, but the impact of COVID-19 will last with us for a long time. So due to social distancing and restrictions on the amount of people that we're able to have on site, the cancellation of lots of our different trading, commercial activities such as school visits and room hire for parties, is going to have a lasting effect on the farm financially. So we've got a public appeal that we launched back in May, and by our 25th birthday, which is on October the 14th, we hope to raise £50,000. The most important way people could help the farm is to come and use our cafe. So we've now reopened our cafe. We've suffered lots financially recently, so please do come and use our amazing cafe. Come to the farm and give an on-site donation or donate to our appeal. We're maxed out for volunteer support at the moment, but in the future we'll definitely need people to volunteer in our projects. But yeah, just come and use us.